There's that guy. We're just going to guess that all 3 of those are disgusting. And we're going to replace all 6 of them. Because we're in here. Might even have to do motor mounts. It's like paper. It's thin like paper. Good thing we're taking care of them now, I guess. That's going to be interesting. Normally they just pop out. I'll probably have to cut these out. Not much left of that one. And that's the one that wasn't leaking. That's the best one I've pulled out so far. You can see how corroded it is on the back side. When one freeze-out plug is leaking, the chances are the rest are going to be soon enough. So you just do them all. Yeah, got it. That's our culprit. Not much left of him. So luckily for us, Jegs is right around the corner. We went over there and picked up a freeze-out plug kit, which gives us all the plugs we need for this engine. Hey, it's even made in the USA, and it wasn't like $100. Cool. Some brass freeze-out plugs. PLC 133B, made in the USA. Cool. That'll work. Do that 2 more times and I can put this side back together, take the other side's motor mount out, and do the same thing on the other side. You guys put these in dry. I like to put a little sealant on them. Just a little added assurance. Alright, so all my block plugs are in. I didn't replace the one that had been replaced previously. It's in there, it's not leaking. There's no point in me dislodging it and wasting my time on it. It will hold coolant in just fine. The engine mounts are back in. I gotta tighten up my last bolt nut for that. Definitely had some crust in there. That was the best one. It actually didn't blow through when I knocked it out. The rest of them were paper thin. So, little maintenance. I guess I'm going to pull the radiator out and pull the front cover. That way we can verify his cam timing is correct. This young gentleman, this is the first car he's ever bought to play with and the first car he's done mechanical stuff on. So he got to a point where he was like, I need some help. So he gave us a call and we said, yeah, we'll give you some help. Not a problem. The best way to learn is by doing it. But sometimes doing it you get into trouble and you need to call in for a spare hand, so to speak. So we're gonna reseal his front cover. Basically all of his water gaskets in the front appear to be leaking, so I'm just gonna pull everything off the nose of the engine to reseal it. I've got a kit here to do that with. And then we'll start working on figuring out a solution for his serpentine belt drive, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. Let me get this thing down where I can work on it. Well, You see I got water sitting at the bottom of the water pump. This guy was loose. That guy's hand tight. So I think we're going to pull the whole front cover off, Mr. Compressor, make a debut showing. Oh, I got that hose up there, dummy. There's only one bolt holding that guy in. Looks like that bolt hole's stripped. That's probably what's supposed to go there. So let's helicoil that. Undoing things. We are undoing things that have been done. Okay, it's what we do. I'm going to pull the fuel pump off. We're going to replace this plastic capillary tube with a copper one just because these always end up laying on a manifold and melting. Ooh, that hole looks bad. Epoxy? What is that? Oh, you know what it is? It's old gasket. Old gasket that didn't get entirely cleaned off. Okay. That makes sense. That's another reason it's not sealing. Okay. Ah, that's not good. I think that's a bolt that's screwed up in the hole. Oh. That is a misdrilled bolt. That's what's left of a bolt. Shoot. How badly did it get misdrilled? Ooh, judging by those threads, pretty bad. I'm gonna have to think about that. I think we're going to be able to save that one. This one's way off. This is super tedious, but it's necessary. I want to chase all my threads to make sure all my threads are good. I'm going to have to do some sort of a repair there, and I haven't quite decided how I want to go about that. There was a bolt that was broken off, and it was drilled off center. It's way off, which isn't, I'm not worried about the gasket sealing because there's nothing to seal there, but getting a bolt straight in and being able to pull torque is what I'm concerned with. So, I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do there yet. I'm probably going to try and get the rest of the bolt out. And maybe just try and drill it oversized and try a helicoil. If that doesn't work, I'll have to Probably put a slug into it.
This one came into us for leaking front cover, and after cleaning a bunch of gasket materials off, I found that horrific mess. Now this is going to be a challenge. Let's find out how bad this is going to make a mess of itself. Let's figure it out quickly, because I need to get this car out of here. Ouch. I hate drilling. Yeah, there's the rest of Mr. Bolt.
Rich,
Yeah.
pull the head on the vet.
Pull the head on the vet? Okay.
That's it. Just the head, take a peek.
Yeah, pull the head, figure out what kind of damage we have so we can move forward with it.
Yeah, he's saying, well, maybe I'll just sell it as is and go buy me a camera.
Here, go put that on the wall of shame. I'm not sure that's going to be big enough. If I put too much pressure into it, it'll blow this boss out, and it'll be welding anyway. I don't really have anything I can weld the cast.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you was trying.
Oh, you're alright. Creative solutions.
Always bite you in the butt.
Well, this is kind of why I pushed this outside. I had to think about this one for a while. Is how I can effectively resolve this without making a bigger mess. Unfortunately, a bigger mess is probably what's going to happen before it's fixed.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff we work on that makes you lose sleep, because you're like sitting there laying in bed and then you're like, hey, well, maybe I could try this. So I guess I'm going to try and open that hole up to where I can fit a plug to it. So that's really my only choice. Let's get grinding. I don't know if I can make this work or not. We're going to give it a try. And if it's fair. So, I often say it always looks worse before it looks better. This is going to be one of those situations. Ooh, all you can see is my. Well, we're probably just going to have to fast forward because I can't do this for you. Break out on me when I put this in. It's gonna stink. This isn't very exciting, I know. But this is the kind of stuff that makes or breaks a job or a project. That's getting pretty tight. I think we're at full depth. We'll see if we can make a plug stick. I actually think that's going to work, so we'll give it a try. split, which is exactly what I was trying not to do. I was trying to put it in just tight enough. I had it in there once, and I pulled it back out to put Loctite on it, and it split. Son of a biscuit. Well, that's a fail. Hey. Yep, sure enough. So now I'm gonna go drink some cold beverages and try and decide how I'm gonna fix that. I was gonna put the brass plug in because brass is easy to machine. I'm just gonna sink it just enough to machine it flat and give me a new surface to drill into. But it's split, so it might be okay. It has enough gripping it, so I may still be able to get away with that. But I'm gonna have to think about that. Maybe I'll grind this smooth and see if I can lay a bead across it to glue it back together. Alright, well, this guy's got a crack right here and a crack right there. And I thought about it last night while I had a rum and coke. Actually, rum and Dr. Pepper. Sounds weird, but it's what I like. Whatever. Makes me feel good. Sat there thinking about things, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to clean up the metal, and I'm going to run a bead down each crack and maybe build up the boss a little bit with my MIG welder. It's probably not the correct way to fix it. Correct in a perfect world, but it's not a perfect world. You know, I don't have things here to repair cast. I know there's a specific filler wire or filler rod for welding to cast, but I figure I'm going to try it and see if I can get my MIG wire to stick to this cast. So I'm going to clean it up, I'm going to grind it out, I'm going to preheat it, and then I'm going to lay some molten MIG wire into it and see if it'll stick. I don't think it'll distort the head surface any because it's just this boss out here that I'm trying to repair, so I'm not too worried about distortion. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Just like those guys in sandals on third world countries throwing broken crankshafts into coal to warm them up and weld them back together with a stick welder. Those guys are pretty crafty. They're craftier than I am. So let me clean this up a little bit with the grinder, and we'll see if I can make MIG wire stick to cast. Basically, I'm just looking for it to be strong enough to hold the brass plug, because the brass plug is going to be replacing the metal that's all messed up from the previous misdrilling. And that was before me. And then we're going to punch a new hole through the brass and thread it, and that should hold us down tight so that our gasket will seal. So let me get my grinder going. Come on. probably not going to glue to that. So did I make it better or did I make it worse? I don't know. Looks like I got penetration. Doesn't look good, but I don't know. We'll see. Put some Loctite on it and see if it'll hold it. I think it might be okay. I suppose if I need to, I could build it up some more. Let's clean it up a little bit. Just going to keep poking at it until I completely mess it up. I think I have it strong enough to do what I need to do now. I think I'll stop poking at it. Grind it off. So let's figure out where our hole needs to be. And yes, this is mildly terrifying. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes it means drastic measures. Your hot rod helper. And we vacuum packed it in glue. That should be fun to get out. Oh, that's strangely satisfying. Hey, look at that. Nice, Mr. Gasket.
That's looking pretty good. So with the long bolts sticking out here, I can line of sight my die, my tap. I can use the line of sight with this bolt and with this bolt coming at it from different directions, and it allows me to make sure I'm tapping in a straight line. You can also use a socket next to a tap to check it for alignment as well. I do that sometimes as well. But I have a hole back in its more proper place. I think my depth is good. Oop, need to tap it a little more. I would say that's enough. So let's make sure our surface is nice and flat. Clean up all our stuff. Big thanks to Amazon for your packaging. It works really good as shields to keep metal out of the engine with a couple of magnets. I got a magnet here and a magnet here holding all that there. Allows me to try and keep as much trash out of the engine as possible. So I think we are on the road to recovery. So we're going to put our front cover gaskets on. Clean it all up. We'll torque it down. That bolt should hold torque. It's only like, I want to say, it may not even be 20 foot-pounds. It may be like 15 foot-pounds. So it's not a lot of holding pressure, but you really have to have it there to get that seal against the water jacket. So I was cleaning up the new timing cover. Timing cover, replace original equipment. And it looks pretty okay. But I was fitting the seals, and there's some flashing in there, right there. That won't allow the gasket to go down all the way. And it probably will. I'm going to take a file or a grinder and clean that flashing off, which will allow this gasket to seat against this bottom flange. It's just dumb stuff like that that ends up making stuff leak. Get it all back together and have to take it apart again. Yeah, and we're going to put RTV in there too, just to help make sure that corner doesn't leak. Alright, so my front cover's going back on. Looks like my bolt repair there is going to work out pretty well. Looks like I'm lined up pretty good for free eyeballing it. That looks like it's got good threads. He told me one of these was stripped out. That one looks like it's missing all the thread. And this is another situation where we have a really thin shoulder. But it looks like we can drill that out and helicoil it. So I'm going to put a threaded insert in there. And then I'll run chasers down through all the rest to make sure they're good. But we're coming towards the ends of the extra stuff that we didn't know we were going to be doing. Hey, there's no clamp on that hose. That's not good. Let's put a clamp on that. Why has it got 8 feet of hose going up to the carburetor? Wow. We might address that while we're in here too. Looks like it's got a line fitting. I wonder if that's just a barb with a, because that should be a line fitting. Let's take that out and see if that's supposed to be a line fitting. We'll just make a hard line up. That'll solve that problem. All these little bits. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Mr. gaskets instead of these Velcro ones. This thing make confetti? What's all that?
It's snowing. What is that stuff? Oh, that's different. And this car is the gift that keeps on giving. So, I pulled the thermostat housing off because I remember it was leaking too, so I wanted to check it. And looks like the 4 threads that this has sticking out of it are pulled out of the intake. So we have yet another thread repair to do. Which unfortunately is behind the front cover I just installed. Killing me, man. Killing me. That one doesn't look great either. Let's see if the right chaser will go through it. It actually looks like there's some good threads down in there, so I may make a stud for that one. That one's a little rough, but I think it'll live. So let's make a stud. That's really annoying, Ford. I suppose technically you could notch this front cover, because this is just a cavity. I suppose if you had to, you could notch that for access for bolts, but I'm not feeling that hatchety today. Let me see if I have any 5/16 threaded rod. Alright, so I put a stud in with basically I cut the head off of a full thread bolt that was about yay long and put a slice in the end of it so I could screw it in with a screwdriver. Ran it all the way in till it bottomed, made it snug, and then used a nut and washer to lock it down. Was able to pull 15 foot-pounds torque on each one, so I think we're good there. My fuel pump's on. I need to take this barb off because I'm going to guess that that's probably just going to end up leaking, so we'll just solve that right now. Let me put my water pump up in here, and then we will put Healy coil in that hole, and then I'll feel like I've accomplished something today because this thing just keeps giving me more grief, but we're making headway. This project's feeling like an eternity today. These 2 bolts check good with a thread chaser. This one's destroyed. That one's actually critical for our power steering pump mount. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Healy coil in that hole, and then I will mount up my power steering pump. I'm actually going to run a solid line up and then just have a short little jumper up here for the rubber hose. As little rubber hose on fuel lines as I can do is what I usually shoot for. He did actually have a proper line fitting barb in there, so it wouldn't have leaked. But when you have 6 feet of hose instead of 3 inches of hose, it's a lot more higher probability of ending up with a fuel leak or a fuel line landing against a header and bursting into flames. I do need to run over to the hardware store and pick up another one of these because this one's all buggered up. But I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to pull torque on my front cover the way I need to. I think my repair is going to be sufficient. With that, it's time to Healy coil a brand new cylinder head. So let's get my Healy coil kit for 7/16 14. What drill do I need for that?
Well, we're going to end that there, I guess. As you can see, it's the gift that keeps on giving. That one little tiny coolant leak that you think you could just fix real quick. 2 weeks later, you're still working on it. Lots of progress to be made still left on this little Fox Body Mustang. Cool car. Very, very nice machine, especially for something that's survived here up in Ohio. And it's going to be even better. Cue the air compressor. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We really do appreciate all the support and all the interest in what we do here in the shop. We're just a small town shop here in Central Ohio that works on a lot of cool stuff. So we are a normal, actual functioning shop. This is not a TV show. This is actual real work. These are actual real customers' cars. And these are actual real headaches that we have to deal with day in and day out. So hopefully you enjoy watching this kind of thing. If you do, click on the subscribe button, drop a comment in the comment section below, click on that like button. If you've made it this far, we appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. There's still more to do with this four-eyed Fox body. Take it easy.